My name is Avi Salmon, and we're talking about presentation skills. I'm going to talk briefly today about this paper that can be found on the website. And this paper can be a subject for a whole day or 2-day workshop only on the materials here. Every line here, you can take it to a full workshop, but we won't do it today. I will briefly go over the subjects just to understand what are the subjects that needs to be referred to when we're talking about good presentation skills. When we're talking about presentation skills, we're talking from a talk that you have in an elevator with a person that you really wanted to meet, and you have 50 seconds to talk with him, it's a presentation. Or a class of 2 hours about mathematics, it's a presentation. Or when you have a project that you want to present to the staff members, it's a presentation. So each time that you have an idea to talk about and you are presenting it to someone, it's a presentation. So I will go briefly on the principles and then we'll practice. One thing to understand is that whatever you will get, the things that I will tell you right now, it's not worse as practice and feedback. So the drill that we're doing, we are talking about these things, but later we will give each and one of you 3 minutes to talk about a presentation, whatever presentation that you want to talk about, and give him feedback. The real understanding and learning of this subject is by practicing. So that's something that needs to be said. Okay? So, we have 4 principles that need to be in mind if you want to give a good presentation. First and most important is to understand what is your message. Why are you standing here in front of whoever it is and speaking? You must understand the message. Okay? So if you want to give a presentation to a class like teaching mathematics, so we need to know exactly what do you want at the end of the lesson that the children will know, will remember. If you're presenting for a staff member a project that you want to get permission to run, you need to understand exactly what are you saying to them. If you're a politician, what is the message? So you must know what is the message that you want to bring. You must be able to write it in one sentence. That's the message. Second thing is to calm down. Okay? To be cool and calm down. Third is to know what you're speaking about. Know your material. Be an expert in what you're talking about. If you're not an expert, drop it. Okay? And the third thing is, again, remember the message. Okay? The message is the most important thing to know. What do you want to say? Okay, so it's in Hebrew, yes, I will translate it. Okay, so there are 3 parts: the presenter, the audience, and the material. Okay? The presenter is us. Let's start from the presenter. This is the one that we have full control over, right? It's us. So let's see the elements in the presenter that makes a good presentation. First, as I said at the beginning, is calm down. Relax. Okay? People are very, very frightened to speak. And one of the most wonderful phenomena that I see is that I'm speaking with people in one-on-ones. I see the enthusiastics, and they know what they want to say, and they know exactly the message. And they said, okay, come to the stage and say the same thing. And suddenly, like a magic, something happened, and they start talking. Now I have agenda, now I have a lot of PowerPoints, and everything fades away. Where's the enthusiastic when I talk with you one-on-one? So something happens to us when we are standing on a stage. And I'll quote Seinfeld, if one of you remember this scene. He talked about fears. And there was a study about fears. And number 2 fear that was discovered is the fear of death. Okay? So guess what is number 1?
Stage fright.
Stage fright. To speak in front of audience. So death is number 2. So Seinfeld says, think about it. If you're like in a funeral and you're reading you need to read something,
You'd rather
be the one inside than reading. So we're afraid of speaking out. So if you can calm down and relax, And there are a lot of techniques to do that. Walk over the sea, meditate, dream, whatever you do, relax. Remember that it's just people that you can speak with them one-on-one. Second thing, know the material. Know what you're talking about. Be an expert in the subject that you're talking, else consider not to present. I, for example, when I was younger, it was a while ago, someone came to me and said, hey, can you instruct a tour in Jerusalem? Now, I'm not a tour guide, I'm nothing. But I said, okay, why not? I took a book, I read it, and that's exactly how it looks like. It was unprofessional. I knew only what I read, and it was a very, very not good presentation over there. And I was stuck, because if you don't know the material, it will show. So first, talk about things that you know what you're talking about. And if you don't know, learn a lot and be ready. So calm down, know the material. Then we are facing our gestures, how we move. So I'll go over briefly. It starts with how you stand. So you need to stand up, physically be on stage, not, lean like this, not lean like that. If you are behind a table or a podium, it makes a barrier between you and the audience. So as much as you can, be open with the audience that you are. It all depends what is the forum and what is the relevance, but table and podiums are buffering between you and the audience. Movement. So if you need to move, okay, you need to play with your body and move. So you should be able to talk and move and get closer and backwards, all the same, but move. Because one of the things that people do are they are standing like this and talking, and it's boring. It doesn't use the effect of drama that you can use your body. So you need to move. There are some mistakes that people are doing while moving. So you can move like a tiger in the cage. Okay, you can get out of the frame. And back. Okay, so you can move back and forth. It's a mistake because it's very bothering to the eyes. You can stand behind the table. You cannot move. These are all mistakes. You should move calmly, like feel free on the stage. Okay. Hand movement. Hand is a tool. Okay, so you need to use the hand. If you again standing and talking without moving the hands, you're missing a presentation tool that you have. Now, you need to talk and move your hand while you're talking. It needs to be relevant. If you do the same, you'll talk and the same movement will go over and over, it will start bothering people. If you take a pen and play with it, it will start bothering people. If you do something like this, it will bother people. But if you use your hand to emphasize something, to explain something that is big or is small, you want to illustrate something, that's where the hands come to play. So you should use your hand. Basically, the middle of your body is the playground of your hand. If you're going up with your hands, it's like arrogance. If you're going low, it's lack of self-confidence. Be in this area and use the hands. Okay? So it's movements, it's hand. One of the things that people don't know is what to do when you need to be quiet. Like you're asking a question and waiting for an answer. What do you do then with your hands? Or do you put it in the pockets? The best movement, the best position is to do like I'm doing right now, like this or like this, and to wait. This is the more comfortable. Yes?
And what do? You can't work with your hands all the time. What do you do when you're like not trying to illustrate something tremendous, like in the main
So you can stand exactly like I'm standing in front. Okay, so I'm just, this is like this or like this, okay? Hands are resting, you're listening to someone. Let's say, let's hear now a musical piece, okay? Let's hear it. Okay?
But when you're just talking about like, a presentation isn't usually
you can use the
20
hands.
seconds.
Okay, so
and you don't have to be doing like...
so you can use them slowly, but move them. Refer with them. So if you're talking about, I don't know, the need of water in, the need to save water, and you have a lot of explanation number 1, and then you have explanation number 2, and then you have explanation number 3, and the most important explanation, okay, you use them. Okay, you can use the same text where you're putting your hand in the pockets, but then you just lost the presentation tool. Sometimes I see people talking with one hand in the pocket, and with the other hand they're presenting. I think it's okay. It gives you like a cool look. Okay, it's okay. But just try not to be like that all the presentation. Not like that. This means that you're closing with yourself. Again, it's a barrier between you and the audience. So, feel free with your hands. So that's hand movement. Most important is eye contact. Okay, again, depend of the number of audience. If it's 400, you can do eye contact, but like this small forum, you can look on people, look into the eyes, don't worry. I remember a teacher of mine, that's class like that, all the class talking to the lamps. It was, I could go out, come back, he's talking like that. So there are people over there, okay? Talk to them, don't be afraid, okay? Eye contact is first to make sure that everybody is with you, because sometimes body gesture of the audience, will speak of the audience, means something. If you see somebody's going to sleep, or somebody is starting to type, it means something. Look at it, react, decide what you do, but look at it, okay? Also, mistakes about eye movement. Sometimes people are talking to the same person all the lecture, so it's very bothering to the person. What is you want from me? Get out, take your side out of me. Okay, it's very bothering. I'll release you right now, okay? So don't stare at someone, because sometimes one of the audience is very interested, so the lecturer goes directly to him, all the lecture is to him, and it neglects all the rest, and it's very bothering to the one that you're staring. Second thing is not to look at people, just to ignore, it's not good. And one more mistake is people that take this recommendation technically, so they will choose 3 people and go from one to another. Don't do it technically, leave it. Be with them. There are people over there, look at their eyes, talk to them, be with them. Okay, that's eye contact. And last is the voice. The voice is another instrument to use the presentation. If you're talking monotonic all the time, it gets boring. You need to use your voice to get interested, and most of all, to point to the very important issues. Okay? So when you're speaking about something, but you want to speak about something that is very, very important, you just use your voice to illustrate it. Okay? Another thing about the voice, very good to use, is pause. So when you want to say something that is very, very important, you can just pause. Okay? So it gives what the audience, what happened here, and it gives you focus. Okay? So pause. So this is us. This is the presenter side. It's about practice. The best practice is to film yourself like I'm doing just right now. Believe me that I'm going to watch this later, and every time I watch myself, I'm looking and say, you just told them to move your hands. Why don't you move them? You just told them what's going on with you. I see everything. You learn from practice and by viewing yourself. But that's us as presenters. So that's the first part, presenters. The second part is the audience. So we can't ignore that we're talking to someone. There are audience over there. And this seems like not in our control. It's like, what can I do? Can I train them? It's the audience. I can't control them. The fact is that you have control. The control is, first of all, information. So you need to know who is the audience. Who are they? So why do you want to know who are they? It's because you want to match the presentation that you give to the audience. Are they? Do they know about what you're talking about, and you need to teach them from scratch? Do they have objection to what you're talking about? Do you know the language? Like, Maybe you're speaking and they don't know what you're speaking about, but they're very, very nice and polite and doesn't say that they don't understand the language. So you need to know, okay? Especially if you have interested, like if you're going to have you need to approve it, you're going to staff, and you need to present something that you want to get approval for, you need to know in advance who is sitting over there. Is it just the upper management? Is there some technical leader over there that has some objection on your idea? Do you have someone that tried to do this project in the past and failed and now he will object to you? You need to know who is there. So how can you know who is the audience? The simplest way to know is just to ask. You can ask someone that you know is familiar with the audience, to ask them, hey, who's going to come? Do you know who's going to come? What's the opinion? What's all about? Why did they call me? What do they want to hear? So you can ask. You can ask directly. For example, in one presentation that I gave a while ago, I really wanted to pass an idea to the department, to convince them to do something. And I knew that some people in the staff members that I had to give the presentation has some opinion about it, or have different point of view about the subject. So I sent everybody a mail and I said them, look, I'm going to present this and that subject on that date. Please tell me what do you want to hear from me? What concerns you? What do you want me to elaborate about? And I got responses. And based on these responses, I knew what I need to talk about, what I need to attack, what I need to refer to. And more, when I started the presentation, I told everyone, look, few of you gave me feedbacks on what you want to hear. So relax, I know what you wanted, it's in the presentation. And if at the end of the presentation I didn't answer, then ask me it again. When you're saying something like that, you give the people the understanding that they can calm down, they know what you're going to talk about, they're not worried if you tackle a subject or something, they are more calmed down, okay? Disruptions. So here in our organization, you know, people are very polite and kind and quiet. But it differs. Sometimes there are disruptions. Disruption can be of few kinds. People can talk. People can, you know, interfere, talk with a cell phone, open the computer and intensively type. People can speak with one another. People can ask questions that are taking you off track to your presentation. All are things that disturb the presentation. You need to understand one thing. Most of the interference to your presentations are not against you and are coming from some story of the people that are disturbing you. They have some need that is not answered. Your job is to understand what is the need. So if I present, you know, let's eat less meat. I want to present it, and you really like meat. All your family is celebrating meat every Saturday. Okay, I don't know, maybe it's right. Yeah. And I'm talking right now about eat less meat. So I am interfering with your need of company and family and tradition and everything, and you can disturb me and start asking questions and bother me with all kind of cynical question and interfere with my presentation. So I need to know what need am I missing in the audience. Now, it's hard to do it on real time, because you're starting to speak and somebody starts interfering with you. You can't do this analysis easily on the spot. So what you can do is, as much as you can, and as much as the presentation is important to you, to do some work before the presentation. Understand who has any objection to your, or any unanswered need to the things you're going to talk about, and talk with them before, diffuse it, make them, instead of interfering, helping you. So as much as you can before the presentation. In the presentation, as much as you can, you need to deal with this interference. I can hint you that most of the interference come from the need to be important, to need to be appreciated. So if somebody bother you in the presentation, most likely something is bothering him about his need to be as important, recognized or something. For example, if I'm presenting a new project and somebody is saying, it won't work because last year we tried it and it cost too much. So what he actually is saying is, I also, emphasis on I, tried to do this project. I have knowledge about it. I can help you. I can take this over you. I should be the one presenting. Whatever is telling me that he wants to be recognized as well. The fastest way to break this is, first of all, understand it. That somebody is telling you something, it comes from he wants to tell something about himself. So technical things to prevent it, to say, it's a very, very good point, I thought about it, next slide, or very good point, I want to talk with you to get some inputs after the lecture, or I know that you've done a very good work about this subject, I wanted to talk to you, if you can't stay after the presentation, I really want to leverage your knowledge and maybe we can do it together. When you refer to someone and give him appreciation and respect him and give him his place, that's the most common need that people in the audience look for, especially in technical environment. And this is something that can be done easily. So this is about disturbance. 3 things about disturbance that it calls the 3 Ds. One is depersonalize, detach, and diffuse. Remember, depersonalize. Remember that if you get interference, it's not about you, most likely. In 99%, it's not you. Maybe it's the subject that you present, maybe it's some background stories in the audience, it's not you. So calm down, don't take it as it's an attack against you, most likely. It's stories of the audience, you need to diffuse it, to break it down, it's not you. So that's depersonalize. Detach is take your ego and put it aside. Don't take it as it's like against your presentation skills or presentation idea or whatever. It's not about your ego. Put it aside and react to the interference in a business-wise manner. React it not as it hurts your ego. And last is diffuse. That's what we talk about. Break it down. Like give recognition or understand as fast as you can what is behind it and break it. Even if it's doing something like, okay, that's a good point, I'm writing it right now, we'll deal with it later. This is a kind of diffusion. You just break it, he knows that you captured his concern, it's on the wall, and you go ahead. Okay? So diffuse it. So that's the audience. The most important about the audience, know who they are and adapt to the audience as much as you can. Do homework before and break barrier, break objections. Okay. The third thing is the materials that you present. Okay, it's the PowerPoint. Okay, and one of the most common responses that I get from presentation skills course that I pass is that people are expecting to get a course in PowerPoint, how to move slides, do graphic things, how to edit, what colors to choose. I'm not talking about PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a very good tool to assist you to run with a presentation. It's a very good tool. But as you can see, I didn't use PowerPoint so far, and I did some work here. So it's not that presentation is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a tool that can help you. It can also bother you, and I'll explain. But I'm not talking about PowerPoint. So people get disappointed, but they relax and we pass this. So materials. First, keep it simple. Keep it short and simple. People tend to put a lot of things in presentations. You know, I get to a 1 hour presentation. First thing I go down, 86 slides. What 86 slides? We have 1 hour. Yeah, we'll run. I have lots of things to say. Keep it simple. How can you keep it simple? First of all, it's a state of mind. If, you know, Nobel Prize winners can explain what they've done in 50, 20 minutes in TED presentation, okay? We can simplify almost everything to the level that is needed, to the time frame that we have, and elaborate later in a longer lecture or in a printed or link to somewhere. We can simplify things to the time frame that we have, and it's possible for every subject. You can challenge me. Bring me any subject that you like, and I'll show you how we can simplify it and make it even clearer. The most surprising thing is sometimes that you're simplifying things that you were sure that everybody knows them. It's like common knowledge over here. And when you simplify it, and people say, oh, now I got it. Now I understand the idea here. So simplify things, make things shorter, okay? Then the presentation is made of 3 parts. Beginning, the presentation body, and the summary, okay? Basically is, in the beginning you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. Second part, tell them. Third part, tell them what you told them, okay? It's all about the message. So at the beginning, you should declare the message of the presentation at the beginning. One mistake that people tend to do is build for the punchline. I'll build the presentation, and in the end, they understand what I want to talk about. It's a common mistake because people are usually intelligent, and the message can be passed on almost the first sentence, okay? But people will not run away, don't worry. They will stay to your presentation because now you build all the explanation and everything about the message. So you can tell, okay guys, we're going to talk today about how to save water. Now we're going to the presentation, and for summary, guys, so remember, we can save water. So go and do the steps to talk about. So it's all about the message. We start by telling what's the message. The body is explaining what you want to say, and summary, what you talked about. Remember the message. Now, every slide, you need to ask yourself, so what? You have a slide, so look at it and say, okay, so what? What I want to tell specifically in the slides. We'll find that few of your slides, there's nothing here that you want to say there. It's just another data, another something. Put it in the backup. You don't need it. Keep on the message. Okay, so the opening. First, tell the message, what you want to tell them, okay? Make the opening of the presentation attractive. You know, there was a study in the university. They took a class, and the lecturer started the class. Half of the class got, you know, to write feedbacks on the lecturer after 2 minutes. So they wrote their feedback, what did they think the level of the lecture and the course is. And the other class got it in the end of the semester. So very surprisingly, the results almost matched. So it means that after 2 minutes, people got the perception of what they think about the lecturer and the course. The same as people that finished all the course. So in your 30 seconds, first 30 seconds or first 1 minute, after this first 1 minute, the people that you are talking with will have a full opinion about you. I have no clue what opinion that you have about me right now, but you already had it on your first minute, okay? You know me for the past, so I know that it's not a good impression, but maybe the rest, I don't know, maybe I'm lucky. So, how do you do it? A joke, a personal story, a question. Who wants to be a millionaire right after this lecture? Okay, that's a question that, okay, I do. Okay, so you can start with a question. You can start with a fact. Who knows how many tons of water did we drink last minute in Africa? It's a good start of a presentation, right? So a question, a personal story, most likely to be related. A joke, that most likely to be related. A cartoon, something that makes the audience stick to you in a minute, to like you. Okay, so that's the opening. Then the body. The body should be built. I will have in my website, I have some examples. The body should be built, again, keep it simple, things that are very clear. So if you see a slide with a lot of numbers, it's not clear enough. You need to simplify it, put simpler graphs. Be very gentle with the text. I see a lot of presentation that gives a full paragraph, on the slides, and this gives you two bad effects. One effect is that people start reading and they don't know exactly what's the point. So what is the point when you put this all this big information here? So that's one thing. They don't understand what's the message. The second thing is that you have a competitor. You have competition now. So now it's you against your own slides. So who will get the attention, the slide or you? So you put a competitor to yourself. Why? So slides should be minimum wording, maximum speaking. Okay, a question that I'm being asked, okay, but sometimes people want me to send them the presentation after the presentation that they will have reference to the materials. But if you put such a thin presentation, what will I send them? Like pictures of a few words. So one solution for that is to make a big presentation with a lot of text, as to in your website, or to link, or to give it printed. But in the presentation itself that you give, put very thin presentation, like a sub-version of the big presentation. This is a very good solution, and make sure that you get the attention, and you get to say what's your message, and not the presentation will steal the attention of the audience. Use of graphical images. So a lot of times when I see slides are bullets. Okay? So not too many bullets. The rule is like 6, 7. 6, 7 bullets maximum per slide. 6, 7 words maximum. Okay, this is rule of thumb. But even that, believe me, it's too much. If you want to say something, you want to say, stop smoking, okay? You want to have reasons, so you can write a lot of reasons, but you can write health, just the word health, and talk about health. Pollution, talk about pollution, talk about it. So put minimal wording on the slides. Use graphical images. If you want to talk about pollution, so put a cartoon of pollution or something. If you want to talk about something that is very small, when we doing a chip at Intel, and we're putting a million of transistor on a size of a pinhead, so put a picture of a pinhead and tell you, see this pinhead? We can put here 100 million transistors. So use graphical images instead of words. And build all the content of your presentations simple, and build it, like put your subject very simple, very structured, and if the fewer slides that you have, the better. And every slide, think, what am I saying here? What message is in this specific slide? As shorter the time that you have, much less slides to have. And last is the summary. Okay, so you opened, you had the presentation, and now the last 1 or 2 minutes, you need to summary again. What is the main message that you wanted to pass in the presentation? Emphasize it. Say, okay, we're up in time. We saw how it's important to stop smoking. So guys, when we go out now, everybody that has some cigarettes in his pocket, please, you can donate it to the garbage can, and I hope you will see it next year with a lot of less smoke here. So it's a summary of the message. Make sure this is the last time, that's the thing that they're going to get out with. So the thing that you say last is something that will stay here. So keep, again, the main message of your presentation to the last sentence of the presentation. And again, like in the opening, you can, again, add some joke, add something interesting, but don't forget that the message that you will say at the end of the presentation is the last thing that we'll take out. So that's the material. So we talked about the three elements: the presenters, the audience, and the materials. And from now, I can give a lot of drills and examples about all these materials. It was very short, but you need to understand that the real learning comes from practice. So you just need to practice, get feedback. If you can film yourself, that's the only way to get improved with presentation skills. Questions? Okay? You're still with me?